Most people know about the Kill la Kill anime. The show aired in October of 2013 and ended in March of 2014 with lots of success. It had impressive action scenes, good writing, and plenty of memorable characters. Years later in 2019, A+ Games developed a 3D fighter based on the show. It has lots of playable characters, multiple stages based on locations in the show, and features its own unique mechanics. This game has a lot of good elements for a fighting game, but it isn't really talked about all that much. I think we should dig a little bit deeper and see if this game is any good or not. Once you get started, you'll quickly learn this game has a story mode. However, this isn't just a retelling of the anime's narrative. This version has different story beats, which makes it distinctive from the original. The first part has you playing as Satsuki as you battle covers, Ragyo Kiryuin, and even a giant life fiber baby thingy. It's kinda weird, but it's Kill la Kill. Weirder things have happened. A lot of the story can be summed up pretty quickly, honestly. Once we have a quick battle with Ryuko, Ragyo explains that life fibers are going to take over the world. During a festival, Satsuki tries to stop Ragyo from executing her plan. After her boss fight, Nui Harime and Ryuko show up, to which Nui admits to Ryuko that she killed her dad. After another fight, Ragyo turns a bunch of students into covers. Once we defeat all the covers, Ragyo gets a super powerful life fiber outfit thingy. After getting knocked out, Satsuki awakens to Ryuko just chillin' in front of her. After a little while, Nui shows up again, and Ryuko just cuts her arms off. Not even joking, she just cuts her arms off. No sympathy, no regret whatsoever. Everyone then travels to the location of this giant life fiber ball. We defeat a giant life fiber baby, then boom, end of story. Keep in mind, this was a super quick recap of the story, but that's pretty much what goes down. After going through this new story, it turns out it was all just a dream, which explains all the new plot points that the show didn't have. After you finish Satsuki's story, you then unlock a new version with Ryuko as the protagonist. Ryuko's story is pretty similar to the previous one, with a few differences here and there. This story is far more interesting to me because once you fight another life fiber baby, we learn that all of Ryuko's story is also a dream. Well, kind of. Satsuki's Kamui absorbed a bunch of life fibers to turn her dream into a reality. Kind of like the third semester from Persona 5 Royal. Once you defeat an ultra-powered Satsuki, the story ends up resetting to before it all happened. The story is really interesting, and honestly, I would recommend the game to any Kill la Kill fan just because of it. The length of both stories aren't all that long though. You could get through everything in about 3.5 hours. Even if it's short, it introduced some cool new ideas. If you're going to play through the story mode, I would highly recommend watching the show first. While the game's story is more self-contained, you do need to know some of the key plot points in the show for some things to make sense. Plus, with how it just drops you in the middle of the show's plot, I think the developers intended for you to know the original. As for the writing, it feels just like the show. And just like the show, Mako was the best part of this entire experience.
I like butterscotch, and I bet Lady Satsuki likes butterscotch too! But real butterscotch is way better than imaginary butterscotch! Way better! A smart person once said, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade, eat butterscotch! Right, Ryuko?
I guess?
There's so much dialogue and character interactions that seem on par with the show, and I'm glad they could translate that to the game.
How dare you! Are you trying to break the Mind Stitch or kill her?
If you just analyze the data, you'd see you don't have to be so savage.
Watch it, new girl! If you hurt Lady Satsuki, I swear I'll kill you!
Is that how you're gonna get your revenge, my toy? You got no honor!
If you dicks don't stop complaining, I'll bail. I ain't doing this 'cause I wanna.
Why don't you just go then?
I do feel like the story could have been a little bit longer, but it's really not that big of an issue for me, personally. I think the fact they made it feel so close to the source material is pretty cool. But enough about the story. Let's move on to the fighting in this fighting game. Let's get started with some of the basic mechanics of this game. The first thing you'll notice is that this game is a 3D fighter, which means you can go in any direction you want to. Since stages are all 3D, your character will always lock on to your opponent. That might sound annoying, but honestly, it's pretty useful. I'm not very accurate with my attacks in other fighting games, so I can only imagine how difficult a 3D one would be. The lock-on makes battles feel a lot easier since you don't have to worry about where to go to hit your opponent. Along with the lock-on feature, you can also use a homing dash. This allows you to close the distance between someone and get closer to them. This can be useful for starting combos or catching someone off guard. You also have a guard in this game, and much like the attacks, they will auto-lock towards the attacker. This way you don't have to think about changing the way you're facing to defend yourself. It all happens by itself. Guarding doesn't have any chip damage either. You'll be fully protected from all attacks. That doesn't mean there aren't ways to counter it, however. You do have a guard break move at your disposal. All you do is press a single button and your character will sparkle for a second before they break your guard. This gives the person guarding a chance to move out of the way to avoid taking damage. Each character has an evasion move which lets them dash out of the way, or even teleport for some characters. Wall splatting is another mechanic that's pretty important in the game. If you launch your opponent at the wall, they'll splat and slowly slide down. This gives you an opportunity to start up a new combo to deal some extra damage. Kill la Kill If also has another feature that I haven't seen in any other fighting game, and that's Bloody Valor. Next to your health, you'll see these 4 other little bars. This is called SP, and you'll gain more of it as you deal or take damage. After you reach a certain amount, you'll be able to pull off some special moves that I'll talk about later. Once you get 2 bars of SP, you'll be able to activate Bloody Valor. This completely pauses the fight and throws you into this rock, paper, scissors like game. Taunt beats Provoke, Provoke beats Mock, and Mock beats Taunt. Each of those have their own benefit if you win Bloody Valor. One thing to keep in mind is that Bloody Valor will always be in favor of whoever initiated it. So while the player who started Bloody Valor will get SP recovery, HP recovery, and extra damage bonuses, the defender will only be able to deal extra damage if they win. If the attacker wins, they gain a star icon next to their portrait. This gives different bonuses to each character, like how some characters will get increased damage or increased speed. If you manage to gain 3 stars, you'll be awarded all star bonuses to your fighter and a finishing move. After you charge up full SP with 3 stars, you'll be able to do what's called Seni Soshits. This lets you instantly defeat your opponent no matter what, but you have to be careful with the timing because the opponent can dodge or block it. As for your attacks, things are pretty easy to understand. Simply pressing the square button will do your neutral combo. Every character has one. But by holding up or down or left or right on the joystick, your combo will change. By holding left or right, your character will start an attack that launches the opponent in the air. This is a good counter if you ever have someone homing in on you. The air launch will always take priority over the homing attack, so use this move whenever you have the chance. By pressing triangle, your character will use their long-ranged attack. Each fighter has a different type of projectile, but each character still has one. This is good for attacking players at a distance or finishing a combo. The way you use combo moves in this game is almost like a mix of Street Fighter and Super Smash Bros. You have combos already coded in the game, but you can combine those combos with other moves. You can start a neutral combo and finish it with your ranged attack, start an anti-air combo and finish it with your guard break move, the list goes on. You even have some special attacks that could be used in combos. Earlier I mentioned after you gain enough SP, you'll be able to use specials. Once you have 2 or more SP bars, you'll be able to use a special guard break, long-ranged, or close-range attack. There's also a move that allows you to stop opponents' attacks. Once you have 2 or more SP bars, you can interrupt the attacker's combo to have a chance to escape. This is a good option if you're taking too much damage or you're at risk of losing all of your health. Every character has different kinds of special moves that are distinct from other fighters. These moves can also change depending on your star rank. Not everyone's special changes, but some characters get increased damage or an additional attack in their special. It's more than possible to use these special moves in your regular combos. You can mix and match all the combos and attacks in this game to make completely different ones. That's what makes the combat so fun, because you can theoretically make multiple kinds of combos even if your options are limited. It's always fun just messing around with different attacks and seeing what works and what doesn't. It almost feels like that's what the devs intended on. They wanted players to use these moves and be able to create different kinds of attacks. This game feels like it tries to be easy to play for people who aren't all that great at fighting games, and honestly, I really do appreciate that. You don't have to worry about blocking at the right time or aiming your attacks in just the right spot. The game does most of the heavy lifting for you. I think some other fighting games can seem a little overwhelming for new players, so a game like this would be great for people who want to ease into the genre. Moving on to the characters, if we take a look at the roster, you'll see there aren't a whole lot of fighters to pick from. I've seen a few people say this game should have had a bigger roster, and the fact it's so small is bizarre. On one hand, I can sort of agree with that. I think we're all used to most fighting games having a bunch of different characters to pick from. However, I'm not quite sure who else they could add. The show didn't really have a huge cast, so I think what we have is pretty much all they could do. Keep in mind, I haven't watched the show since I was 17, so I could be forgetting some characters that could have been used. You can unlock dual-wield versions of Satsuki and Ryuko that play completely different from their base forms, so technically the roster goes from 10 to 12. I'm probably gonna get these names wrong, so sorry in advance, but I think it would have been cool if they made Senketsu Kisaragi and Junketsu Shinzui playable. They have a unique moveset and animations coded into the game. It's not that big of a deal, but it would have been cool to be able to use them more. I also wish the game had some unlockable costumes. Once again, this isn't that big of a deal, but I love different kinds of outfits in games, so I wish Kill la Kill If had some options here. Even if there aren't costumes, there still are different skins for characters, so that helps make up for it a bit. I think now is a good time to move on to all the side content this game has to offer. When it comes to side content, there isn't much. Of course, you have normal stuff like local and online matches, but there's some other stuff to do as well. Survival Challenge has you fighting opponents as they slowly get harder as you progress. This mode is kind of addicting, honestly. Seeing how far you can make it with different characters and strategies, it's really fun stuff. When we move on to the covers challenges, we start to see more options. There's an endless, 100 unit, and 1 minute mode. To me, these modes aren't as fun as the survival challenge, but they still are enjoyable. My biggest problem with these covers modes, however, is the use of the auto-lock feature. Defeating a single enemy when there are multiple on screen gets kind of annoying. Your character will be automatically switching targets all the time, so it'll be hard to focus on one at a time. And unfortunately, you can't move the camera to try to influence the auto-lock either. You're just stuck with it, and that starts to wear on you pretty quickly. Despite how annoying the auto-lock gets, these covers challenges are still pretty fun to go through. Before I end this video, I want to go over a couple things I wanted to mention real quick. The OST was really good. There were so many good songs in this game. Each character has their own theme and victory jingle, which gives them all some uniqueness. It's all very well composed and fits the game well. I thought it was really impressive they brought over all of the English voice actors for this game too. When it comes to most anime games, they usually only use the Japanese voice actors, so I was pleasantly surprised when I saw you could change it to English. There are some problems with this, however, like how sometimes a character's mouth will still be moving even though they finished talking. And while this is inconsistent and annoying, I'm still just surprised that the English voice actors came back to voice the characters. Speaking of voices, I thought all the performances were pretty much perfect. Ryuko is still an extremely angry trash talker, Satsuki was still authoritative and condescending, and Mako was just Mako, and I wouldn't have it any other way. This game also has a lot of cool stages. There aren't any platforms or stage hazards, but it's cool to see these locations from the anime show up in the game. My favorite stage is, and I am most definitely gonna get this wrong, but Hinocho Open Field. It felt like I saw this area a lot when I watched the show, so it seems cool to be able to revisit it in the game. Lastly, I really do think it's cool how beginner-friendly this game is. Some other fighting games just kinda throw you in without teaching you everything that could be important, so it's nice that this game is relatively simple and easy to learn for anyone who wants to play this game. I think Kill la Kill If is a really well-crafted fighting game. The mechanics and gameplay are simple, but also have a layer of complexity. You have a lot of different combos and attacks at your disposal, and Bloody Valor is unique and adds another layer of complexity that makes you read the opponent. If you aren't super good at fighting games or want to play a simpler one, give this game a shot. Or if you're just a really big Kill la Kill fan and want to see what happens with this new story, give it a shot. I think this game does a great job of being a good game for fans of the show and fans of the genre. The game may not be extremely popular, but it is extremely fun. Hopefully you guys liked this video. This went on for longer than I thought. I originally thought it was going to be an 8-minute video, then the script turned into 7 pages, and then I thought it would be about an 11-12 minute video, and here we are at 15 minutes. So, things happen. I'm just honestly really glad to be done with this video. Making a thumbnail was really hard. I had no idea what to do for the thumbnail. I just kind of threw some stuff together. Made the mistake of Googling anything Kill la Kill related. That kind of scarred me for life. And then I also looked at a little bit of the Kill la Kill Reddit for some things that I forgot, and then that scarred me for life. I just think looking at anything Kill la Kill related just ruins me a little bit. I cannot do it. I haven't watched an anime in about 2-3 years because of how weird and sexual most of it is. And the fact that Kill la Kill embraces all of that, it's just all sexual, all weird, it makes Kill la Kill my worst enemy, my biggest opponent. It's like this show was made out of spite for me. And like I mentioned before, I googled some stuff for Kill la Kill to try to make a thumbnail. That was a mistake. Thankfully, I had safe search on, so I probably got saved from some other weird stuff. I was on the Kill la Kill Reddit for about 5 minutes. The fans make some really lewd art that I could have gone my whole life without seeing. Just doing anything Kill la Kill related is not my jam. I think just being on the Kill la Kill Reddit for like the 5 minutes I was there drove me a little bit crazy. There was a lot of not safe for work artwork, some lewd artwork that I didn't really want to see. I didn't need to see any of that. I just saw some weird stuff, but at the same time, it's whatever because I don't have to go back. I hope you guys liked the video. It was a little bit longer than I expected it to be, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it if you did it. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you all later.